like to call to order the January 18th meeting of the Fitch-Rona EMS District at 7 p.m. I'd like to move next to a roll call.
Sure. So Michelle is texting. She's struggling getting connected, so I'll fill in for her while she's here. So we'll start with Fitchburg's. That would be Jim Wheeler.
Here.
James Roberts.
Here.
And Connie Hilla is absent. And Verona would be Kate Cronin.
Present.
Derek Johnson.
Present.
And Brett Kaiser McHenry. I see he's on.
He looks like he's on.
I see he's on there. Looks like Michelle is back. We already got your job done. We're good. I'll let you take notes. Yeah, Brent is on there. And so then we'll go with the town. Dave Lonsdorf is absent. We have a vacant seat. And then that would be Sue.
It's me.
Is present. So we do have a quorum.
Excellent. Any public comment to share for this meeting?
Do not have any public comment.
Moving on to the highlight of the meeting, swearing in and pinning of paramedic Hayden Latch.
Got the little green light. Perfect. I'll stand back here and we'll have you raise your right hand. So I state your name.
I, Hayden Latch.
As a sworn paramedic of the Fitch-Rona EMS District,
As a sworn paramedic of the Fitch-Rona EMS District,
swear that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
swear that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties of an EMS provider.
discharge the duties of an EMS provider,
And I pledge to carry out these duties to the best of my ability.
and I pledge to carry out these duties to the best of my ability.
I recognize this badge as my badge of my position as a symbol of public faith and trust.
I recognize the badge of my position as a symbol of public faith and trust,
And I accept this position so long as I am true to the ethics of the emergency medical services profession.
and I accept this position so long as I am true to the ethics of the emergency medical services profession.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
We'll have you in. So I'll give you that. Congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations, Hayden.
I'm going to do a picture quick.
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unless you want to.
Moving on to the next agenda item. So review and approval of the meeting minutes from the November 16th meeting that was handed out with our packet for this meeting. Are there any questions, comments, edits to those minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. The motion passes. Chief's report.
So thanks. So the screen is up there. I did share this with you. So we actually ended 2020. This will be, it's the January Chiefs report. It's actually kind of the summary of where we ended up with last year. It's through the end of December. We ended up with 48.58 for our calls. As you can see, that's almost a 14% over last year. Hit or miss, right? That greatest month was 26% over, and then we had a couple negative months. So, 14% over the previous year. So kept our crews busy. On Other kind of highlights that are on there, the runs by municipality, Fitchburg snuck up again to 66% overall. It was by a couple percent higher than the year before, which actually does make sense with the acquisition of the Southdale neighborhood into the city of Fitchburg. So this was our first full year with them. Other than that, we'll sneak down other stuff to point out. The out of resources report that last year, City of Madison or our neighboring units had to come in 14 times because all of our trucks were out. In 2023, that went up to 42 times. When one of our neighbors, it's predominantly the City of Madison, has to come into either Fitchburg or Fitch-Rona because all of our units are out, and a fourth call came in. So pretty significant as we start looking at budgeting and planning for the future and adding an additional vehicle to help cover our calls. Other statistics that are there, pretty par for the course. Still, we have continue to point out one of the, as Jeff and I kind of did some goal planning for next year's as we talk about sick people in falls being our number one cause. Jeff talked at the annual report about some of the fall prevention stuff he's doing, so that's one of our goals next year. So we're going to see that fall to the bottom of the list of frequently called reasons for the ambulance. Financial report's going to look a little bit unique now as we have transferred over to the new billing company. So we still have a handful of funds because it's almost $1.5 million sitting out there with the last billing company as they work on getting that number down. They are now done billing, so that 0 to 30 days out there, they have kind of billed the last of the accounts that are left with them, and then EMS MC, that's our new billing company, has started billing them. So that's why you see about a 90-day crossover there. So you'll see that aging report, at least for a while, include both of those, and then added those together and have trickled those down. As far as our cash on hand, you'll see we mentioned it, I think I shared that in an email. We took some of the because the rates for CDs are so high, and they're actually significantly higher than our money market, we took some funds out of our checking account, where that market is, and put them in a CD that'll get some significantly higher. I think it's just under 5% with Oak Bank. So there's a new line item on there that's part of that reserve funding that's going to get a better interest rate than what we were getting before. So you'll see that line item on there now. We still haven't got our FAP funds for the year. No one has. And then our money market, the WISC account. So that's our post-retirement healthcare and our labor funds. That always pays out at the end of the year. It just pays back into itself. So you'll see that interest is deposited there. No donations for November or December. As far as our January milestones, there's a couple big ones. Dale Dow has got his 26th year with us. That's a couple years as a volunteer, and then the rest of those as a full-timer. I hit 23 years in January as well. Molly's at 19 years, and Christy is at 14 years. So some significant years here with Fitch-Rona. I have some updates written down on the back of my notes here I'll share, but then just always share that shout out that most of these again come from other employees, but Chip Hankley was, they shout out to him for his patience and assistance with one of the paramedic students who actually reached out. The paramedic student responded back just with some kudos to the mentorship that student got specifically from Chip on a very complicated call. And then one of our crews actually did a shout out to Fitchburg Fire Department. I did share this with Chief Pulvermacher and one of the engines. It was one of those times where one of the city units actually did have to come into our city and take care of one of our patients that was actually in a cardiac arrest when all of our units were out. I'm sorry, not a cardiac arrest, an overdose. It was paged out as a cardiac arrest. And the feedback from the fire crew and from the Madison unit that came in said that they got some phenomenal assistance from those firefighters on Fitchburg Engine 2. So their names are there. And then Dr. Lonsdorf's neighbor, again, he actually sent this one to us that a neighbor of his called the ambulance the other day, and Ross and Christy responded, and he said just did a phenomenal job on a very complicated kind of environment that patient was in. So specific shout outs to those crew members. So the other updates I have is kind of where we're at with our hiring process. We swore in Hayden tonight, so he started was January 7th, I think it was something like that. About 2 weeks ago, he took Henry's position, who started with the city of Madison about 2 weeks ago. Greg has put in his notice to move from a full-time position down to a part-time position. That'll be effective, I think, February 1st. So we have done a promotion process, I guess, from our part-time pool into that full-time position, and it just completed that earlier this week. So Lane Matheson, who's one of our current LTEs, will actually be promoted to that full-time position for Greg, to fill Greg's spot. And he will start on, I think it's February 11th, somewhere around that time. So we'll be doing another swearing in here in the next couple of months to refill that LTE pool that we fill our positions with. So we interviewed a handful of applicants, and of those we are going to be starting 3 new LTEs here, probably about the end of the month, getting them onboarded. Pretty new paramedics with very new little street experience, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve getting them onboarded, but be good fits. Good fits for us. All 4 of them were students here at some point, so very familiar with them. They'll be, again, good fits to our organization. And then the last part to update you on is the deputy chief's process. So we had 8 applicants. We ended up actually interviewing 6 of them, and that was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. A week ago, yeah. Lots of hiring going on here. So last week, and thank you to JR. He was actually the commission representative on that board, so he did get to meet all 6 of them and provide his professional feedback on some tough decisions to make with those applicants. Of those 6 of them, 4 of them, we are moving forward to the next step in the process. And those next steps include Kelly Cloudsdale has been with Greg, was the previous union steward. Kelly Cloudsdale is now the new union steward, I think as of January or as of next month. They've all connected with her. The union will do a forum with those 4 candidates. And then they will come in for an interview with Jeff and myself, and as well as a couple of the medical directors, just working on trying to get the availability of a couple of docs in the same room at the same time can be a bit of a challenge. So those will be February 7th and 8th is when they will come and interview with us and the docs. And then from there, we're going to get a phenomenal new addition to our service here to help us move forward. So that's what I have for my chief's report. You saw I will stop that screen and open up so this is I call it the very, very rough end of the year in-house budget, because this is what that budget looked like as a snapshot on December 31st. So that doesn't always include all of the bills that rolled in that would come out of the 2023 budget. That didn't roll out or get paid until 2024, so it's pretty close. But where we ended our year, about 107% over what we actually expected is for run income, so a little bit extra there, probably based on a 16% increase in calls. We also, just interesting number down there with contracted events. Now, most of those is paid as well. We're doing some follow-up, but we actually did about $100,000 worth of external support on special events with the Alliant Energy Center and events just within the district. Oh, thank you. Makes it that much more exciting. Hey, how about that?
You must have heard me.
I got the hey. There, how about that? I believe this did get emailed out to the commission members. So again, the rough finals for the end of the year. Interesting, right? About $100,000. And so that's I don't know exactly what that number of how many events or hours that ended up being. I can pull that information, but pretty significant number of hours that we did to provide support for the Alliant Energy Center. And again, a lot of events in our own community. Wages, at the end of the day, we were a little bit over, but as well, right, the normal wages and unscheduled overtime, as long as kind of the 3 of those match up, we're in the right spot. Remembering, again, that those contracted events, we charge to cover the cost of our staff going there. So that significant, right, $100,000 for contracted events really pays almost all of that overtime wage. Otherwise, as kind of be expected, the things that we go up every year. Gas, oil, lube, repair parts, and medical equipment. I was like right at the end of the day at that the bottom line was 101.9%. So it was 101% over budget. But we also got 105% higher in revenue. So not too shabby at the end of the year, kind of getting a very rough. The auditors will come, I think they're coming to do their preliminary, and this is not a true audit, it's a review, but they will be coming, I think it's next week. Michelle, you can correct me if it's somewhere in there.
It's like the 30th.
Okay. And then we'll get that official end of the year. They'll pull all that information and kind of give you that end of the year summary, but the very rough estimate looks like we met budget. And that's what I got for a chief's report.
This is for the chief regarding his report.
Yay.
Maybe you're probably gonna cover it in agenda item 9, but a refresher for me about how we're handling collection of the age stuff. Is that what you're gonna cover that in 9?
No, 9's a little bit different. Okay. So the Three Rivers is now part of EMSC.
Okay.
But the staff, so that they essentially hired on the staff from Three Rivers to the new billing company. So it's still their system. So it's still the people who've been working on our accounts before. It kind of helps with, I want to say a seamless transition, but it's the same two people who are continuing to work on that aging accounts. We're just now changed over to meeting monthly with our customer service executive, something or other, her official title, to continue to follow up on that aging and get that number back down.
Okay. Any questions for the chief regarding his report? Sounds good. Subcommittee reports. Personnel did not meet. Did finance meet?
They did not.
Okay.
Did not.
Neither subcommittee met.
They did not. We'll probably need to either in February or March kind of get those groups together to talk over kind of preliminary budgets and personnel issues kind of for the coming year.
Okay. Agenda item 8, review and approval of accounts payable checks authorized by Chief Anderson. Any questions for the chief regarding those?
I have some. There are a couple entries in there for reimbursed fees. Is that the indigent people filing and getting a reduced or excused rate?
No. So it's usually what happens is those are patient over. I think they fall under we call them the title of patient overpayments.
Okay.
Usually the patient pays, and then once it all gets figured out, insurance companies pay. So then we have to pay the patient back for their part of it, and that's the vast majority of them. You'll see some written to insurance companies as well. I think there was one to Belleville EMS, something like that. Yeah. That's what happens. Multiple people end up paying in the same account. I don't know how so many of them kind of got piled up there this last month. But no, that is not hardship payments. That's refunding double payments.
Okay.
Did you have another question? All right. Any other questions for the chief regarding the accounts payable checks? Motion.
I'll make a motion to pass them.
Oh, go for it. Sorry. Susan made the motion.
I made the motion to pass monthly. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll
Is there
second.
Second. JR. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
All opposed signify by saying nay. The motion passes. Next up, agenda item 9, consideration of approval and amendment to the contract for billing services with EMC. Chief?
Yep, all that
Yeah,
blah,
and
blah,
that other
blah. All that other stuff there. So as we've talked about, we moved our billing company over to EMS MC, whatever that stands for. We've talked about before. They also have a collection agency arm of their billing company. It's listed there called Lifeline Billing, right? But for all transparency, it's an arm of their company. So kind of two things with that. We currently use the Start Collection Agency out of Madison, and have used them forever and ever. They take, or they keep, right, essentially once counts go to the collection agency, we write it off as bad debt, right? Kind of just consider it not collectible. So turn it over to them. They have to invest significantly more time into finding how we get that money back. But for our purposes, we consider it non-collectible. The Stark Agency spends all that time in there. So currently they take 33% of what they collect as far as the collection agency. And then I believe if it's over 5 years, I think they take 50%. With the addendum to this contract here, again, because it's the same contract, it's not a new contract with the MSC, it's really just an addendum. I did send this out. So they take 20%, not the current 33% that we are paying. The other part of it is because it's an arm of their own company, the information, I want to say seamlessly, right, in perception, seamlessly passes from the billing agency to the collection agency. Yeah, so they kind of get the history of all the data that's been done to try to collect it, and they can take it and move forward to hopefully continue to work and collect those funds for us at a lower rate. So I guess looking for any questions or discussion about, and Stark will continue to collect the accounts that sit with them. Other component here, we still participate. We're trying to figure out just to make sure that EMSC is up with it. The Fitch-Rona participates in the tax interception program. So if we get the correct amount of data from a patient, we actually file it with the Department of Revenue. And then if those patients are identified as owing, because we are a municipal entity, they owe the municipal entity funds. If they were due a tax refund, our bill actually comes out of that tax refund, and we get those funds from the state. So the state tracks them down. The state doesn't keep any of that, but we will still continue to be part of the tax interception program, in addition to the collection agency, so we don't lose that benefit. So I guess looking to answer any questions, or if anybody's opposed to signing the contract.
Is this an open-ended contract where we sign and it goes until either one party wants to quit, or
Yes.
is there an opt-out way if we're not satisfied?
There is. I don't see an end date in here,
So
but I don't actually even know that we have a contract with the Stark Agency. I think it's
Okay.
just at some point I think we can say we would rather use somebody else.
Okay. Just as long as we.
Yeah, I can follow up on that. I will follow up on that.
Any other questions for the chief? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed signify by saying nay. The motion passes. We are on to other business as allowed by law. Is there anything else somebody wants to bring up? Then is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed signify
Aye.
by saying nay. Sorry about that. The meeting is adjourned.